Child's face is usually devoid of prominent bone structures. It is usually chubby, and even the features are not very sharp in comparison to an adult face. The first step while drawing a child model is to draw slightly round face and then draw facial features over it. Roughly mark the placement of eyes, nose, and lips along with the flick of the hair falling over the forehead. The pressure on the pencil lead can help in bringing out softer or harder impression of the face. Light pressure on the pencil will bring out delicate look. One can gradually darken the strokes for showing the shadows and highlighting the features. The drawing till now is devoid of much detail, yet the softness can tell one that it is a child's portrait which is being drawn. Start drawing the ears. Usually, the placement of ears starts from the tip of the eyebrows to the tip of the nose. The mind starts to get trained with continuous practice in perceiving the dimensions and proportions of human body. One knows what stroke would highlight the drawing and what can spoil it. Till now, the drawing just has middle tone to it. The darkness of the pupil of the eye will create another depth to it. The same darkness can be granted to the hair on the head as that part is equally dark to the eyes. The step by step progress of the drawing and with patience makes an artist explore more depth of the object. It gives a better understanding of the characteristics. Soft lighting works best for the portraits of children. The child could be looking towards a bright light source. This sort of light source will illuminate the child's face and create an introspective facial expression. The value stretch or range goes from light medium with the eyes really dark. Suffice it to say that younger the child is, the smaller the face in relation to the skull. The eyes also appear larger, although this can be deceiving. A child's nose can be a nightmare to draw. There is nothing really to latch onto. And the mouth is extremely delicate and sensitive, not to mention its constant motion if you draw from life. If you do want to list some general proportions, you can say that whereas the adult face is about half the size of the frontal skull side, a child's face is about one third of that size. Both the mouth and the nose are about the same width of an eye. Again, we must emphasize that these proportions are only a general rule and individual face proportions can be different. The above general rules can be used for comparison purposes when you do your own careful observations of a particular face. Tonal variation in the hair is making it look soft and silky and enhancing the childhood. A darkened tone here and there, it adding roundness to the head. Start adding soft shading to forehead, depicting the shadow of the hair, adorning the forehead, the area around the upper lips and cheeks. This will help in making the features more prominent, and yet the soft strokes will help in maintaining the softness of the child's face. The features have been captured till now just by shading and no defined lines, and this blur of contours is creating delicacy. Add a little shading over the curve of the cheeks, cleft of the chin, and the darkness of the neck confined in the collars of the shirt. This shading has started giving a finished look to the face of the child. But as the drawing progresses, more and more strokes might be needed to balance the tonal gradations. Next step is to observe the shoulders, collar and folds of the shirt and the placement of the arms. Mind needs to catch one pose to draw it. One can see the restlessness of the child and instability. Catching the pose in this movement is very difficult for an amateur artist. The drawing of the folds is also a creative process of learning to see the graphic images selectively. One can selectively choose the ones which reflects the pose of the model in which he is sitting and emit the unwanted folds. Like Vic Muniz aptly expressed, drawing is not only the way to come up with pictures. Drawing is a way to educate your eye to understand visual information, organizing it into a more hierarchical way, a more economical way. When you see something, if you draw often and frequently, you examine a room very differently. One needs to understand which lines to ignore and which to hold on it. Start darkening the folds of the shirt and the armhole. The scribble over the already shaded areas will add another dimension of roundness and depth to the drawing. Random patterns, crevices, shapes getting defined through the abstraction of folds will lead the drawing to a step where the details will crop up with each new stroke added. Draw the curve of the hip and then the roundness of the knee. The foreshortening has completely vanished the area of the thigh. Just the lower part of leg is visible to the eye. Draw the shape of the leg and lightly shade on half side. Darken the whole of the shorts confining the leg. It will help in enhancing the leg more by moving it visually to the forefront. The right leg of the model is widely placed, so one can see the full leg unlike the left one. There needs to be spontaneity in pencil strokes, otherwise, the lines look very deliberate and might hinder the optical flow. These flowing, rhythmic, and bold pencil strokes are a reflection of knowledge, intuition, expertise, and precision by arranging and rearranging various elements again and again. In his desire to integrate his work, the artist uses whatever seems to him effective for his purpose. He may make the individual choices consciously, but often he may make them as a part of series of initiative decisions as he works at his object, trying to complete it, changing element until each feels right and all go together. Draw the hands and observe the way in which the fingers are turning. Devoid of much detail, even a few lines can give the impression of the posture and the placement. One needs to catch the manner in which they have been constructed, the flexibility, motion, vitality, sensuousness, and intellectual traits of the artist. Scribble over the shots of the childs will prepare a base for further building up of folds over it. It totally is an artist's prerogative how he wants to treat his subject, with rough strokes, delicately careful lines, spontaneity, a coarse or a smooth look. He can bring various elements together to form a unified whole. These random strokes or scribbles may add more gravity to the drawing. A few areas might need to be darkened to achieve a balance of the tone. One should look into the tonal variations and try to grasp the subtle gradations. Tonal drawing is simply a balancing act between the elements of light and shade. In fact, all drawing is a constant balance between your observation, your concentration, your judgment, and your technique. These doodlings and scumbling will build a relationship and add meaning to interrelated spaces. The shading over the areas and the legs will bring more roundness to them and help in defining the shape more. Once one starts giving outline to the form, these prevailing scribbles act as a shadow in a drawing, over which all the parts of the drawing will get a concentrate shape. Will get a concrete shape with all crucial details cropping up with each passing stroke. Like John Berger says, drawing is a way of coming upon the connection between things, just like metaphor in poetry reconnects what has become separated. Shading over the sleeves of the shirt and its folds, softer strokes merging the harsh lines over the arms and legs, darkening of certain parts of the knickers, giving finishing touches over the legs and boots. All will bring the sketch to the stage of completion. Only an artist's mind can guess the need of more strokes. To a spectator, these strokes may seem unwanted. The artist only has to open up to free flowing interactions between the many forces and forms of life in order to recreate his experiences in as many ways as he feels compelled to. Whatever the outside pressure, trends, the stimulations may be, in the final analysis, artistic expressions, as much as multiple creativity, remains very much an individual phenomenon. The preference for or preponderance of expression in one, two, or more art form is sometimes the result of environmental influences in early youth, but it is mainly a matter of temperament of the philosophy and dynamic temperament and chance events in later life. Whether it is the soft touches of the face or the restless strokes over the lower body of the model, all reflect the mood, temperament, and individualistic approach of the artist. The scribbles over the base on which the child is sitting and the background will give a playful character to the otherwise meticulously made drawing and bring it to completion. Now let's try making the same child model in a different pose. One can either create clarity and precision of the form or can bring out the drawing in spontaneous lines. A child's sketch has to be suffused with life as he is so bubbly and choppy. His restless character has to reflect somewhere in lines, or an artist's mind needs to catch his image in one pose to draw intuitively and yet maintain the character. Painting can only represent a single moment, which best allows us to infer what has gone before and what follows. Lessing further collaborates. The artist can never use more of ever changing reality than one single moment of time, and of he is a painter. He can only look at this moment from a single aspect. Thus, the artist was driven in the interest truth to concentrate more and more on the task of giving. In John Constable's words, one brief moment got from fletching time, a lasting and sober existence. Sometimes just to catch an expression on face or drawing prominent features of the model, the artist can take the help of a photograph. It needs practice to capture the moment naturally and spontaneously. After capping the head with the hair by darkening it at few places and adding lighter shades to reflect the glaze or shine of the hair, start drawing eyebrow and eyes. The soft dealing over the eyes with just dark pupils will help in bringing out innocent look of the child. Harder the use of pencil, tougher the character will crop up. As observed in the previous sketch, a child's nose doesn't have any solid bone structure like an adult. It is just through shading and nostrils that a shape can be drawn. As simply drawn a shape of upper lip and add a little shade under the lower lip. Any hard line can destroy the innocent character of a child's sketch. A child's chubby cheeks, devoid of any pointed cheekbone, is another feature which needs to be observed. With soft pencil strokes, only add a little gradation of tone here and there over the cheeks. The ears might seem big, but basically one needs to observe their starting point as tip of the eyebrow, fill tip of the nose. Slight shading in the asymmetrical shape of the ear grooves will make it look finished. Start drawing the collars of the shirt. It will help in defining the areas of the neck. Observe the angle of the shoulder and roughly start making the main visible creases and folds in the shirt. As the child is sitting slightly stooped, the folds of the cloth around the stomach will be more. With contour sketching, one's mind starts to catch the things or shapes which are even hidden under the folds or are not visible. Like Vincent van Gogh said, as practice makes perfect, I cannot but make progress. Each drawing one makes, each study one paints is a step forward. Start bringing out gradually the shapes and the angles of the arms, the way in which hands is hanging, and also the visible part of the knickers. Even a few lines can help in giving an indication of what a completed drawing would look like. The minimal approach helps in bringing out a very apt expression by bring a solid foundation. Like Chuck Jones said, the whole essence of good drawing and of good thinking perhaps is to work a subject down to the simplest form possible and still have it believable for what it is mean to be. The left knee directly facing the front view will foreshorten the thigh, which will totally become invisible. One will just be seeing the frontal view of the lower leg. The right leg of the model is slightly open and placed in a tilt where the artist can see the thigh as well as twist of the foot. Due to the twisted foot, the lower sole of the sandal will be visible. Roughly start scribbling over the clothes. This scribble will become a base for giving depth to the darker areas. To a layman, it might appear as useless lines which are spoiling the sketch. But only can artist's mind knows what he is going to bring up from the self-created chaos. One can experience synthesis of sensual perception and integrates multi-leveled concepts in the conceptual elements of portraits, landscapes, or still life. It uplifts, distracts from petty details, and activises the spectator's intellectual, emotional, and volitional complex. The representation and style might vary from one artist to another. In this drawing, two styles have been used. The first style consisted of adding details of the drawing side by side, like the darkening of the face. The second style is like the one used over the drawing of the body. After drawing the primary sketch or the outline of the pose, the artist can start working meticulously over it and take out the intricate details. Add a little shading under the chin and over the neck. Start introducing third dimension which was missing in the lower part till now. This gradual darkening will keep on bringing depth to the drawing. A few lines over the folds of the shirt and collar is another step forward in observation of shadows. It is not important to capture each and every fold. Just a few prominent ones can also bring out a perfect character of the model. Every new line will become a new element introduced in the drawing. Draw the clear shape of the arms. The clothes become secondary while drawing the body, as one can afford to increase or decrease one fold of the clothing, but one cannot change the proportions or shape of the human body. One needs to catch the posture where one arm is resting over the knee, while the other hand is placed over the thigh. It is rightly said, an artistic image is a synthesis of objective and subjective. But in this dialectical unity of object and subject, as in any other result of purposeful cognitive transformation activity in which man engages, we can trace a main line, a super objective, which is mastering of reality, investigation of it, and discovery of its objective laws and patterns. Small dots over the ears, line of darkness under the sleeves, a little shading over the calf of the left leg, more tonal variations in the knickers by defining the folds boldly, all will bring the drawing to completion. The flow of the pencil strokes will reflect the turn or the direction the folds are taking. Even with minimized details, the essence of the drawing is being maintained. Being too meticulous can break the visual flow and the drawing will lose its rhythmic charm. Like Jeff Knows very aptly said, if I try to articulate every little detail in drawing, it would be like messing the forest for the trees. So it's just about getting outline of the forest. Time to add final touches to the hands after the completion of the shading over the cloths. Add soft shadow over the palm and draw the inwardly turned fingers of the left hand of the model. In the right hand, the fingers are more prominent than the palm as it is getting foreshortened due to the placement in a particular way. To bring the drawing to completion, draw the shape of the sandals. The crisscross pattern on the right foot of the child will automatically reflect the sole of the footwear, and a few darkened buckles over the straps will represent the top of the sandal holding the left foot. Perpendicular lines under the strap is the depiction of the toes. The form of the model is fully complete now with all the necessary details. The base and the background need a few scribble depicting the drapery. The vertical and horizontal lines are adding grandeur to the drawing. Here too, the direction of the strokes reflect the side to which the fold of the drapery is turning. These strokes are all the temporary concepts which an artist's mind keep on forming as per the demand or need of the drawing. Ernest Krishner rightly said, "It seems as tough. The goal of my work has always been to dissolve myself completely into the sensations of the surroundings in order to then integrate this into a coherent painting form." One can see that there is no restraint in the lines of the background. These are free and spontaneous lines, which are in fact adding more character to the drawing than disturbing the main object. These rhythmically flowing strokes are supporting the placement of the model and contributing gravity to it. A few touches here and there over the drawing is the basic, restless, unsatisfying nature of the artist. An artist might be momentarily satisfied with his work, but till the end, his mind craves for contribute more to the work of his sensations.